Welcome back to the home game. I'm here as always with John Kirk, Pat Kilner here, and we are talking about why we really don't care so much about your curtains and countertops because it doesn't actually make you money. And so we're going to break this down. The reason this conversation came up is because as the spring market rolls around, we're having ever more conversations with sellers who are putting the house on the market. And one of the first things before people know us, before they understand how we approach the market and approach the sale of your home or the purchase of a home, because we're talking with buyers as well, we are constantly being asked about what we think about people's curtains and their countertops. And the reality is these types of things, I think we probably hear about this more than ever because of HGTV. That's our theory here, is that what people are listening to online through the HGTV sort of conglomerate that is really built to serve the realtor organization. And I'll talk about that some other day. But what I'm really most interested in is why is it that there's a focus on that instead of the things that really matter? So, John, today I'd love to shift the conversation away from curtains and countertops and into marketing and strategy, right? These are the things that move the needle for folks. And almost every single conversation we have, people are most stressed about the things that don't matter. And they are surprised to learn about how we think about the market and then the strategy that goes into this. So, as always, thanks for joining. And I'd love your impression on that. I mean, you have a lot of these conversations with folks, as I do. Why is it that there's such a focus on curtains and countertops instead of the things that really drive?
I think you hit it on the head, really. I mean, the idea that all the sensationalized home selling shows are out there,
Right.
um, and either that's social media or that's on some network television, whatever is it's so prominent and prevalent. Look, let's be honest. There's a reality that when your house looks its best and it's priced right, you drive the market traffic to you online and in person. And then people, especially in our market in DC Metro, people will compete for the property and bid it up, especially in the current market. But
And we're not saying that staging is not important and design is not
right,
important, good and important things, but at the end of the day, they're ancillary compared to the other stuff. So
that's exactly right. So, by the way, if you ever walked in my house, I would never ask your opinion on my curtains because I happen to know you. You know, you're not qualified to do that, right? So,
I'd say talk to our stager.
well, then that's
Yeah.
it.
And that's what we always say is we have a specialist who does that.
Right.
I think there's we don't ask our stager to opine about whether what the
Home
supply
value.
of the marketplace is going to yield in terms of a price point.
Sure. Yeah. No, and that's it. So, we try to stay in our lanes, but we've got a system in place on how we market and sell properties, right? And so, but it is interesting because we do get that question very often, what to do with this thing or what to do with that thing. And, if you think about it from a home inspection perspective first, I mean, I think that's always been our first approach, right? So, and when I sit down with people, that's what I do first. I go through the home and really try to help them understand where are they exposed potentially during a home inspection to lose money, right? Now, this market has been so tremendous. The home inspections are really few and far between, honestly. You're not getting a home inspection in a contract most days, in this market.
But that was not the case even a year ago, certainly not 2 years ago.
True.
So it's
Yeah.
something we have to be very much aware of. We also have disclosure questions and legal questions associated with that,
Sure.
depending on the jurisdiction that we're in. So, so yeah, it is. There's the exposure question for clients and defending them in that way, that we're uber concerned about when we're
Hmm.
going through a home.
Yeah.
What would you say, John, is the thing? Maybe we could kind of take this categorically. When you talk about bringing a home to market, what's the thing that people are most surprised at when you're in their home and you're talking to them about putting their house on the market?
I think people are still, I mean, currently, look, I've probably talked to 7 people today trying to figure out, that are in various stages of getting on the market. Um, but I've had a call earlier today where the seller was so surprised about the market, right? So surprised that, oh my gosh, do you think I could really get that?
Mm,
Yes, actually, now you can get that. And this is a seller that's lived in the neighborhood for a really long time and never thought his home value would go to that level. And now it's like a no brainer. Of course, it's at that level. It's like, heck, we might get through another $100,000 threshold by the time this market's done with your house.
it's changed in the
Um,
last 90 days so radically. It's amazing.
it's completely radical. So yeah, so people are surprised about the market, is what I can say. I think people were surprised to see a house stay on the market for a little bit longer too. I had one of those conversations, like, hey, a house in my neighborhood's been sitting. What's wrong with it? That's a really good assumption that there's something wrong with the house.
Hmm.
Because in this market, if you're not sold within the first 2 weeks, you might have a real problem on your hands, right? Um, and so that's an interesting one. Although, I was in a house the other day, had a little bit of a foundation problem. I was looking for one of our buyers, and the outside wall was bowed in, and I could see that they still had multiple offers on the property. It's probably under contract now. So, but like for us, like we have to go in with our eyes wide open to structure. We're not engineers, obviously, but we're the first pass. We
Right.
are absolutely the first pass to go. And we do so much new construction, Pat, so much building. We're selling land. We're helping builders build homes on lots. I mean, it's I think we bring a lot of value when we go and look at a house. Especially, I had your dad out on one this weekend too, who built houses for 30 years. In 5 minutes he can go and say, this house is a problem, and then we just walk away. Before we even write an offer, and we don't waste our time on it.
Right.
So we provide a lot of value that way. Is what I would say. But anyway, it's kind of taking this in a lot of different directions. But
Yeah, no, well, that's it's really interesting. I wasn't even thinking in some of those directions, but it is those can be one of the more shocking things is wow, look what my home can how my home can perform in the marketplace. But that doesn't happen without breaking open, like we were talking about last week. What does it take to win? What's the supply and demand of the marketplace look like? Why is it that we can't look at trends from September and October and November to price out things now? And how are we
yeah,
looking at current, very immediate lead
yeah.
minute trends as well? So, and I know you've been doing a lot of that. Um, Talk to me about strategy. What are some of the strategies that people are most sort of shocked by, or maybe didn't expect when you walk in and are talking strategy with somebody who's going to market outside of obviously some of the market stuff that you mentioned?
Yeah, I think strategically now may be the time when you don't do as much to your house to prepare for sale, right?
Mhm.
So if you were thinking about doing X or Y or Z project, for example, and spending $3,500 to get the thing done,
Right.
maybe you don't do that thing right now, right? Because we can see statistically there's 5 buyers for every single house that's on the market in your subdivision, and the last 3 houses went under contract and sold for $40,000 more than their list price. You may not need to consider a project or two,
Right.
right? Um, and that is a surprise. It's because we're looking at the market of now that we're able to give that kind of advice.
Mhm.
Because typically my advice based on history is to, what I always say is, don't go on halfway.
Mhm.
Go on when you're ready. Go on when you're 100% ready. Don't go on the market if you have some distractions, right? Um, you want to try to eliminate as many distractions as you can to be able to keep the buyer interested from the minute they walk up to your front door and see what that whole threshold looks like to every corner that they turn around. You want to keep their interest, right? um, but now you may not have to do as much. and still have the demand there and the negotiation skills really from our side. And this is what we teach. We teach how to negotiate. We in our firm and in our group especially, right? Like we want to really put our sellers in a position to win. And it doesn't happen accidentally, right? People say like, "Oh, wow, you sold that house for $100,000 over list price." Yeah, that doesn't happen accidentally, right? And so why do we not care about curtains and countertops? Because we actually care about the nuts and bolts about how to negotiate a deal. And every phone conversation that you have with an agent who approaches you, what does that phone conversation look like? Deals are won and lost in the car on a phone call, right? Like, I don't think sellers even understand that most of the time, right? This is a very it's like playing cards, right? And I think that's one of the big values with us is we are a business, we're a firm that really concerns itself with the highest level of real business practices, really is what I would say.
Yeah, well, and actually, one of the things that as you were talking really struck me is that so much of the way you talk about this, we've actually spoken about this with agents. I don't know if we brought this to folks outside of the agent world, but with agents, we're constantly coaching them on how to think like you're in the commercial real estate world.
Mhm.
Commercial real estate world, everything is negotiable. And strategy is absolutely, it starts way before anybody writes an offer. It
Mhm.
starts from the first contact, even before the first contact, with the research that you're doing and how you're preparing the playing field in order to win, even before you show the property. And the
Mhm.
same is true and should be true on the residential side. There's no reason why you can't mimic all of those same attributes in this way. And so that's when I think that's one of the more striking things about what we hear from folks is, wow, I didn't know you could think about real estate this way. And it's because it's very much a business. We're going into business with you to help sell your home. We have one home to sell. We have this market analysis that tells us what the market will bear and why that's the case. And here's how we're going to strategically bring it to market before the market even realizes what hits it. And that's the goal. Same thing on the buy side. We're going to bring you to the market. Right now we're listing buyers, really. We're going to list you to the market. And the competition is to see what seller wants you in their house. We're going to bring you to the market in that way. And we need a strategy to do that. And we need to prepare everything really, really well in advance. And we've got buyers who listen to that, others who don't. And the longer it takes for someone to understand what the market factors are, the harder it is going to be for them to find a house.
Yeah.
And by the way, the market just keeps going up. Speaking of markets, while you were talking, I was curious about your neighborhood and your zip code. And so I thought I'd run a market report, and we were talking about what it takes to win last week. And I promised that we'd continue to do this. So I want to talk live about what it takes to win in 20852, right? You're 20852?
5-3.
53. You're just across the line. Well, I'm going to do 20852 right next quarter because that's the information that I've got.
I love it. I saw you doing something when I was
And a shout
talking.
out to all of our friends, Flower Valley friends, because that's 5-2, right? Or is that 5-3 still?
I think it's 5-3 too.
Is it okay, man? I've got it. I live there, and I can't even tell you which one it is. Um, so we're gonna do 20852 between 500 and $700,000. Looking for a single family detached home. How many current homes do you think are on the market right now, John, for somebody who has that to spend? 285. Be simple, single family home.
6.
3.
Wow. 6. I was like thinking 12. So
Yeah,
I
you're like,
cut
I'll
that.
shrink down because I know this is shocking, right?
Yeah.
No. 3 homes currently on
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
totally nuts. Okay. So here's one new this week in that price range. Okay. Active. So you've got under contract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got 7. No, you've got 5 under contract. No, call actually there's the 7th. So you have 7 currently under contract in that same range. Okay. And those all have gone under contract in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So clearly, again, the pace of demand is just gobbling up everything that's on at
Mhm.
that price range. Okay. Your average listing appointments in the last week here, this is crazy. In the last week, they went through the roof. So your average appointments per listing 4 weeks ago were one, 2 weeks ago were three, 3 weeks ago were 12, last week, 27. So there's this huge hockey stick just
Yeah.
in the last couple of weeks, right? So you got three homes last week, over the last 7 days, 109 total showings. You got three homes on the market. So you've got some serious competition. And what's interesting is what we know about the spring market is that as
Yeah.
soon as it starts to get nice, people start to come out. And so
Right.
you thought that there was a lot of demand for houses over the last couple months.
Just
This is
wait.
crazy. Just wait. Just wait. Here we are in the spring market. It just, I mean, it is actually spring now. And here we are in the midst of the spring market. We're in the middle of March and we're seeing demand go through the roof in terms
Yep.
of number of showings. Okay. So it's just a really, really cool statistic. And so by the way, in the last, let's see here. I mean, you've got very, very strong about your average list sales price ratio over the last quarter has been about 101%. But
Mhm.
we're looking at that and going that's gonna definitely increase, especially with the supply and
Yep.
demand realities that we have here.
Yep.
So in order to win, two 2852, we'll do yours next time. 2852.
I'm not
Um,
holding my breath.
yeah, right. I'll forget what it is again. In order to win, I think you're minimally looking at 2 to 3% over asking price, right? In this dynamic. Again, if you're in that open house and it's the first weekend and there's 30 people around you, okay, you're gonna have to compete. And so understand that these are averages right now, but we're really talking about the average of 3 to 7 homes is what we're basing all of this on.
Right.
So this is really, really good data if you're looking in that price range in 2852. We'll do some more next week. If you're watching this and you go, gosh, I wish they would do my zip code. DC, Maryland, Virginia, those are all the areas we served. Thought I'd just have some fun close to home for John today. But let us know where you would like us to look for you. Or if you can't wait for Tuesday and the home game, we'll also do them on Instagram. So subscribe to our Instagram account or channel, and you can check out what it takes to win in very short 3 to 4 minute quick videos about different areas in your marketplace. So we'll have 4 to 5 of those each week, and we'd be happy to include yours in there. John, any last word?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think the market is robust. If you're looking to buy, keep keep strong. Like you gotta sometimes lose one or two here in this marketplace, to
Absolutely.
to be able to win. Um, yeah, and people are asking me a lot, like, should I just wait and should I just not buy right now? Um, the way that this is looking, it looks very robust here for quite some time in the near future. So rates are going to be relatively the same, and you've got a lot of demand, and plus new folks are just coming into the market all the time, and there's just not enough supply around here to begin with. So I expect that this is just going to
We could
continue
talk
to.
about that at some point, but I mean, we've been representing some land opportunities for builders, and builders have been snatching them up really, just in ways that we couldn't have imagined 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And so the interest in land that we are helping to sell right now is really, really fantastic, and that's because they know they're going to get their price on the back end.
Yeah. Oh,
So
it's been great, with that, just mentioning that real quick. I mean, everybody knows we have the Wheaton Woods swimming pool for sale. That's under contract officially now. Hopefully get, 12 to 14 homes on that site. It's a 4-acre site right in the middle of Rockville. So that's going to be really great. And a lot happening on the Emmitsburg parcel too that we have.
Mhm.
And that's just such a great piece of land as well, and adjacent to downtown Emmitsburg, which is think Frederick 25 years ago, right? Same thing's going to be happening there. So anyway, pretty good stuff, man. Yeah, we're involved with a lot of different unique things right now, which are really really great. So
Awesome. John, thanks, man. Always good to see you.
you too, man. This is how we see each other.
I know. This is great.
It's good.
Good to see you without a mask. By the way, got your Easter card. Family looks great.
There you go.
Everybody else does Christmas cards. John Kirk does Easter cards.
That's right, man. So we do Easter cards because we couldn't get our act together for Christmas
Oh, you
cards.
guys look good. It looks look great.
We send out Easter cards with our Christmas gear on.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, it's good. All right, man. Talk soon.